1-24. Published by BibleVise. Delve into the captivating story of King David in the second book of Samuel, where he navigates political turmoil, military conquests, and personal struggles. These 2 Samuel chapter summaries offer a concise overview of the key events and themes that unfold in this captivating biblical narrative. When you are done reading here, you may also want to check out our complete list of Bible chapter summaries for every book of the Bible. Book of 2 Samuel Summary by Chapter. Chapter 1. David mourns Saul and Jonathan. The book opens with news reaching David of the death of Saul and his son, Jonathan, in battle against the Philistines. David expresses deep grief, particularly for Jonathan, his close friend, despite the conflict between David and Saul. He composes a lament, the Song of the Bow, praising the bravery of Saul and Jonathan while also acknowledging the tragedy of their deaths. Chapter 2. David is anointed king of Judah. Following Saul's death, David seeks guidance from the Lord. He is instructed to travel to Hebron and is anointed as king of the tribe of Judah. Meanwhile, Ishbosheth, Saul's son, is proclaimed king by the other tribes in Mahanaim, setting the stage for a power struggle over the leadership of Israel. Chapter 3. David's rise, Abner's untimely death. David's reign in Judah strengthens, while Ishbosheth's position weakens. Abner, a skilled commander who had supported Ishbosheth, becomes disillusioned and negotiates with David to switch allegiance. He meets with David in Hebron but is unexpectedly killed by Joab, David's nephew, out of vengeance for a past conflict. This act of violence threatens to disrupt the fragile peace and unity efforts. Chapter 4. Ishbosheth is murdered. David avenges his death. News of Abner's death reaches Ishbosheth, who is deeply troubled and feels vulnerable. Two of his own commanders, Rechab and Baanah, see an opportunity and murder Ishbosheth, believing they will gain favor with David. However, David condemns their act, highlighting his commitment to justice and his disapproval of deceit and treachery. Chapter 5. David is anointed king over Israel. Following Ishbosheth's death, all the tribes of Israel approach David in Hebron and unanimously proclaim him king over all Israel. He is anointed for the second time, signifying his reign over the entire United Kingdom. David captures Jerusalem, establishing it as the capital city, and further solidifies his position. Chapter 6. The Ark is brought to Jerusalem. David desires to bring the Ark of the Covenant, a symbol of God's presence, to Jerusalem to unite the nation spiritually. However, an attempt to transport the ark on a cart results in tragedy when Uzzah, one of the bearers, reaches out to steady the ark and is struck down by God. This incident serves as a reminder of the proper reverence required when handling sacred objects. Chapter 7. God's covenant with David. The Lord makes a covenant with David, promising to establish his dynasty forever. This covenant signifies God's favor and enduring presence amidst future challenges and victories. David expresses his gratitude and awe in response to this extraordinary blessing. Chapter 8. David's military victories. David engages in several successful military campaigns, expanding the borders of Israel and establishing himself as a powerful and respected king. He defeats the Philistines, Moabites, Edomites, and Syrians, securing peace and stability for the nation. Chapter 9. David honors Mephibosheth. David seeks to show kindness to Jonathan by honoring his son, Mephibosheth, who is crippled. He welcomes Mephibosheth into his household and restores the land that belonged to his grandfather, Saul. This act of compassion demonstrates David's loyalty and commitment to his promises, even towards his former enemies. Chapter 10. War with Ammon and Ammon's allies. The Ammonites, aided by their allies, attack Israel. David sends Joab to lead the Israelite army, and they are victorious in battle. This victory further cements David's reputation as a capable military leader and expands Israel's influence in the region. Chapter 11. David and Bathsheba. David commits adultery with Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah, a loyal soldier in his army. To cover up his sin, David orchestrates Uriah's death in battle. This act of adultery and deception marks a turning point in David's reign and leads to a series of consequences, highlighting the destructive nature of sin and the importance of integrity. Chapter 12. Nathan's rebuke and David's repentance. The prophet Nathan confronts David with a parable, revealing the severity of his sin and the consequences he will face. David, recognizing his wrongdoing, expresses remorse and repentance. Despite his repentance, the prophet declares that the sword will never depart from his house, foreshadowing future conflict and turmoil. Chapter 13. Ammon and Tamar. David's eldest son, Ammon, commits incest with his half-sister, Tamar. This act of violence and injustice within David's own family further compounds the consequences of his sin with Bathsheba. Chapter 14. Absalom's revenge. Absalom, Tamar's full brother, seeks revenge for his sister's violation and orders Amnon's murder. This sets in motion a chain of events that will ultimately challenge David's kingship and threaten stability within the kingdom. Chapter 15. Absalom's rebellion. Absalom, driven by ambition and resentment, stages a coup against his father, David. He wins the hearts of many Israelites and gains significant support, forcing David to flee Jerusalem with his loyal followers. Chapter 16. David flees Jerusalem. David, heartbroken by betrayal and faced with the rebellion of his own son, leaves Jerusalem to avoid bloodshed. He demonstrates humility and trust in God as he faces this crisis. Chapter 17. Ahithophel's advice and Hushai's intervention. Absalom seeks counsel from Ahithophel, a cunning advisor, who proposes a swift and decisive attack against David. However, Hushai, another advisor who remains loyal to David, presents a counterplan, strategically allowing David more time to gather his forces. Chapter 18. Absalom's death and the quelling of the rebellion. The opposing forces meet in battle, and despite initial success, Absalom is ultimately defeated. He is caught entangled in a tree, and against Joab's orders, he is killed. David grieves deeply for his son, showcasing the complex emotions of a father amidst rebellion and loss. Chapter 19. David's return to Jerusalem. David returns to Jerusalem after the rebellion is quelled. He faces division within the kingdom and needs to rebuild trust and unity. He demonstrates forgiveness and leadership in the process. Chapter 20. Joab kills Amasa. Joab, acting out of personal rivalry, murders Amasa, who had been appointed commander of the Israelite army. This act of violence further disrupts the healing process and highlights the enduring consequences of David's earlier transgressions. Chapter 21. More battles and a famine. This chapter gives accounts of further battles, a 3-year famine, and a plague. These events can be interpreted as ongoing challenges and consequences of David's past actions, while also showcasing his leadership and perseverance in navigating difficult times. Chapter 22. A Song of Deliverance and Gratitude. Chapter 22 of 2 Samuel features a poetic song of praise and thanksgiving composed by David himself. He expresses his deep gratitude to God for countless acts of deliverance throughout his life, from his early victories against giants like Goliath to his triumphs over powerful enemies and rebellions. The song uses vivid imagery and metaphors to describe God's power, protection, and guidance, highlighting David's unwavering faith and dependence on God as the source of his strength and success. Chapter 23. David's Mighty Men. This chapter highlights David's mighty men, his most loyal and courageous warriors who supported him throughout his reign. The chapter serves as a tribute to their bravery and dedication, while also foreshadowing the challenges that lie ahead for David's successor. Chapter 24. David's Census and the Plague. This final chapter of 2 Samuel marks a significant turning point in David's reign. Driven by pride and a desire to boast about the size of his army, David orders a census of the Israelites, disregarding God's command prohibiting such a count. The prophet Gad warns David of the potential consequences of his disobedience, offering him 3 choices: 7 years of famine, 3 months of fleeing from enemies, or 3 days of plague within the land. David, recognizing his mistake, chooses the plague, accepting responsibility for his actions and hoping for God's mercy. The Lord sends a plague upon Israel for 3 days, claiming the lives of 70,000 people. As the angel responsible for the plague reaches Jerusalem to strike the city, God relents, showing compassion and sparing the city from further destruction. The chapter concludes with David purchasing the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite and offering a sacrifice to the Lord, signifying his repentance and renewed commitment to faith. Despite ending on a hopeful note, the chapter serves as a stark reminder of the potential consequences of disobedience and the importance of humility and reliance on God. It also sets the stage for the events to unfold in the following book, 1 Kings, which explores the challenges faced by David's son and successor, Solomon.